It was my life at the Golden Weir. I started off, and then when I shifted into the town where I went to school, and during the war where we had the air raid shelters and we had practice, we got fire siren would go, and we all had to go out and sit on the march down in a orderly fashion, and then on the seats in the air shelters and all that. And that's where I've sort of got here, but I can condense it, can't we?
Well, we can just send her the notes and she can pick out what she'd like to use.
That's right. That sounds a good idea.
The other thing is that I did check with Eileen first. We are recording this, if that's. I hope you're okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, when they were all dancing in the street on the telly the other day, I thought, I can remember when we were all running out in the street and they were hugging one another, they were crying, they were dancing, and the church bells rang and the fire siren went, and just took me down memory lane, and that's what started this off. Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't I just ask you a couple of questions and you just share with me, and then if Carol could send me the notes as well, that would be lovely.
Okay, all right.
We'll do that. That sounds
good. Could you perhaps start by sharing a little bit about what it was like in Nagambie during the war? How was it affecting the town and the different families living here then?
Well, the lights used to go off for the blackouts because they weren't allowed to have too many lights on because of in case the aeroplane from the enemy flew over, they'd know it was a city,
And they were dimmed, you said.
And they were dimmed, yeah. We had coupons to buy food and clothing, and of course some people would swap if we didn't need so much butter and yet we needed some tea, they'd swap coupons. Clothing wasn't much of a problem. It didn't worry us. We had enough clothing. But what else?
At home you had all your, you had the cow. And...
Oh yeah, well, it's hard when we're at the weir. So the war was going 2 years before I shifted into the town, and when
you were only 8.
I was only 8 at the time, yeah. But I remember, we were lucky because we had a cow and we had chooks and we had turkeys. Dad was a great fisherman and used to catch plenty of fish. Mum used to make her own bread and all that. And then, the shift into the town was mainly because education for us kids. We wanted to go to St Joseph's School, and Dad was working on the railways up at Tokam Mall, and it was easier for him to go to the station rather than riding his bike and wearing so many miles back to the house and things like that. But no, it didn't affect us a lot, the war.
But tell me about the movies,
Oh, yeah, that's another thing, Nagambie. Well, during the war, we used to have pictures every Saturday night at Mechanics Hall, and money was scarce, so my girlfriend and I, this is when we shifted into the town, we used to mow a lady's lawn, mower, and she'd give us 1 6p, and it would cost us 1 3p to go to pictures, and we had 3p to spend on an ice cream or lollies. That's how it was,
And the newsreel.
And the newsreel used to come on, and we're all interested to know, because we only had radios in those days. We didn't have television, didn't have the news as much as we have now. The newsreel regards what's happening at the war, the latest news, which was very interesting to everybody to know how things were going. Yeah. And of course, we used to have the wireless going and there'd be news there, but nothing like the news you get now,
People entertain themselves at home.
Yeah, people entertain themselves at home by playing cards and lotto, snakes and ladders, and
tell them about your dad and the fiddle.
Oh, your dad used to play the fiddle and sing and dance, entertain us. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And we had at the Weir we had an army camp during the war.
Wow.
The Golden Weir, and that was interesting because most of the kids had to cross the Weir to get to school, and the soldiers got to know us and knew most of us pretty poor, so they give us a packet of chewing gum. Chewing gum PK. We thought that was marvellous every now and again to get a packet of chewing gum. Yeah.
Now, what else was there? Oh, well, tell them about, your family, how they supported the war effort, about, especially about Joe.
Oh, yeah, well, I was one of 9, and one of my brothers was in the army, and his role in the army was to entertain the troops. He used to play the house organ and whistle and sing and play the spoons, and he had lots of jokes, and they wouldn't be real good jokes here, I don't think. Lots of jokes. The other one who couldn't go because he had varicose veins, he worked at the Maribyrnong ammunition factory. And I had a sister who was in the Air Force, and she was stationed at Sale. Yeah,
She was a cook.
She was a cook at Sale. Yeah, what else can we tell you?
Now, what about, so as far as, there was around 700 people.
Oh, yes, when we went to school, we were always taught there were 700 people in Nagambie and 7 million in Australia. So now it's 1,800 in Nagambie and 25 million in Australia.
Yeah. Those 700 people, tell them about, like as in shopping and that. What can you remember of the township itself? Did it change much during the war?
Well, everybody had to shop in Nagambie during the war because they didn't have cars and they couldn't get out of town. So there was plenty of shops. There was 3 grocers, 3 hotels, 2 butchers, a produce store, a bakery, blacksmith, oh yeah, and a wine saloon, and there was a shoe shop, and 2 or 3 cafes, post office, newsagent, and there was only 2 garages in those days, but not too many cars. Mainly, I think they were to do with fixing farm instruments and supplying petrol and at the farms, because there wasn't too many cars about in those days. Yeah, and people, if you didn't have a car, it was once a fortnight there was a fellow who used to take groceries in a truck around all the outside, the Goulburn Weir and Baillieston and Braytown and all that. You'd go in and order your groceries in that one week, say on the Thursday, and on the Friday that they would come around and deliver, like it'd be a bag of wheat, it'd be a bag of chaff for the cow, and it'd be a bag of flour for Mum to make the bread. It was all big quantities of stuff, and yeah, I mean, we just didn't, not too many people had, except for Horse and Jinka, there wasn't too many people who had cars, so they had to get their stuff delivered by this truck. Yeah.
Tell them about the lolly shop.
Oh yeah, well, when we used to have these air raid siren practices at school, me and my friends used to say, oh, if the war comes and the bombers at a lolly shop on the corner of Vine Street, we're going to raid that because all those beautiful lollies. We were thinking of all the lollies we were going to get.
Tell them about the lollies that you used to like.
Oh yes, they had these long chocolate sticks with a ring around them, and all the girls wanted some of them. That's what we're going to pinch if the bomb had hit Nagambie.
Now, what about, you mentioned about as far as clothes and that, there was lots of hand-me-downs.
Oh, yeah, most people had hand-me-downs in those days, yeah.
And about her, that she didn't get to go to the doctor very often, so tell her about...
Well, I was 22 when I went to the doctor because none of the kids, no one at the Golden Weir went to the doctors because parents had their own remedies. Yeah, like a camper bag on your singlet, sulphur in your shoes so you wouldn't get germs. And when they were, it was sulphur in your shoes, and when they washed your singlet, you could smell the sulphur coming out. So just if you're right through our bodies, the sulphur. If we got scabies, we had a Fenol bath. We never had
castor oil
once a week and cod liver oil. Yeah, for cold, keep the colds away. But we never went to the doctor, and I don't know how he survived. I think it's because of babies. Babies being born.
Wow.
And I used to have head lice in those days. The kids could relate to that.
Oh, yeah, head lice.
How'd they treat the head lice?
With kerosene. Yeah, head kerosene in country here. Then I should have to tell them so. Yeah. They were different days.
Oh dear.
You couldn't believe this. Where you come from? You come from overseas somewhere, didn't you?
And
Yes, from Sweden.
Sweden.
Yes.
Yeah. And was it hard when?
My husband's granddad was also in the Royal Australian Air Force, but he was an airplane mechanic.
Oh yeah, and so was my husband.
Oh really?
He was an airplane mechanic. Yeah.
Wow.
He used to fly those tractors. They took them out to see if they flew all right. The ones that landed on the water and the ones that went through the air.
Wow.
Yeah,
I remember my husband's granddad. He used to share how nervous he was. They had a big notice board where he was located, and whenever a plane had crashed, they posted the names of the planes there and the pilots, and they always ran up all the mechanics to see if it was one of their planes that had gone down, because that made them so uneasy and sad if it was one of their planes.
That's right, but they were responsible. Yeah, something going wrong.
Exactly.
It was a big responsibility, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, do you think you can share a little bit? Yeah, sorry. Go on.
I was just going to say, look, there's a few pages in this book here. Yeah. I mean, you can just pick out what you think.
I think she's covered most of what she had there, Anna. We just typed it up in, I'll change it when I send it to you, but I had it in great big print, like size 30, so Mum could easily read it. So there really isn't that much information. It's perhaps, an A4 sheet.
Okay.
But, was there anything else you wanted, that we perhaps haven't talked about that you wanted to, because Mum was only 8 when the war started and 14 when it finished.
That's right.
And so...
The only
and again, I've told you before, we had our own newspaper in those days, and we also had a morgue, because they put the dead people in. Yeah. And they were taken from the hospital in the back, the coffin on the back of the truck. Wasn't it hers?
But she knows that there was a few people that died from Nagambie in the Second World War, but not having any immediate family that were, injured or killed. Mum doesn't really know so much. You'd be better off with the RSL or, someone like that knowing that.
I just had one more question, really. And that was, it's about what it was like when the war was over. Was it a big sense of relief or maybe even disbelief? What was the...
Everybody. Yeah. I mean, that's right. I don't know how long it took to get rid of the coupons afterwards, whether that was a few months to try and get rid of them or whether it was instant, I don't know. But I know wool boomed after the war. The wool, wool went up a lot after the war because my husband's father was a farmer and Jim was a farmer too. It boomed after the war. Things came very good. And what I suppose the excitement of the boys coming home and the sadness for the ones that didn't come home. I think it was just a blessing that the war had ended and things could get back to some normality. It would take a while. Didn't affect me all that much because I was only 14 at the time.
But what about Joe? How soon did he come back from the war? Can you remember, Uncle Joe? Did he come back straight away, or?
Well, he was only local. He didn't go overseas, so he would have been discharged. I don't know how long they kept them after the war ended. They discharged them. I don't remember that.
Did he volunteer to go in, or was he conscripted?
They volunteered. Most of them volunteered. They wanted excitement, Yeah, they did. They thought it was going to, some of them even put up their ages. And try and get in. He didn't, but they did because they wanted excitement, which was sad. But I just don't know how to say about.
Was at 14? Were you still at school?
Yeah, I was still at school.
But St Joseph's used to go to year 8 in those days.
That's right.
So Mum was still at school when it finished. Yeah, I don't think you can add too much more.
No,
to that, can
I
you?
can't remember.
But were people excited? Did they go out onto the streets to celebrate, or?
Well, you know, in where I live in Vine Street, people come out to their front gates and wave to one another, and they were hugging and that. And I think that went on in most of the streets. And if some of these songs like Cliffs of Dover and We'll Meet Again and things like that, Nursey, Nursey and all that, were just all singing madly and just going mad they were, you know, in our street. And I think most of the others would have been doing the same, you know. There wasn't too many cars blowing their horns because there wasn't many cars, but there was a siren in the street and things like that. Yeah, it was a lot of excitement, yeah, in the town when the war ended, everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sad for people who lost their loved ones, you know, they weren't coming back, but it was a great thing. And it happened on the Assumption. That was the day in our church of the Assumption of Our Lady into Heaven. We always think she had something to do with it. Yeah, no, it's all very good when it ended. Yeah.
Okay. But it's just such a pleasure listening to you.
Oh, well, I can ramble on.
You're a great storyteller.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like no, just watching that on the television took all my memories back, thinking, oh, I can remember all that happening, you know, regards the end of the war, and we didn't see a lot of that. There was no television in those days, but we've seen it now. But how the other people, you know, the people who did have the newsreels and that, how they've been able to show it.
Mm.
In England, and everywhere, all over the world, was it? Great excitement, you know. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and of course, the Queen, the war ended in 1945, and in 1953, the Queen became Queen, and in 1954, she came to Shepparton, and I was in hospital having Carol, and the nurse said to me, do you want to go and see the Queen? I said, oh, I can't. No, we'll mind you, baby. And Jim, my husband, drove us up to Shepparton. Car loaded us up. Had a good look at that. You know, Prince Philip. That was a great excitement too. And that was in 54, of course. But those sort of things, you don't forget, do you? They're special.
Yeah.
You know, that a young Queen. Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
But, you know, I'm sure Mum would be happy to talk about other subjects that you had that you wanted to throw her way. Hannah, if you wanted to do something else, you know, other than watching.
I was thinking maybe this is enough for now, and we could meet up at another time, and I'll ask those questions.
Okay, that would be good.